Sir Isaac Newton is widely recognized as one of the most influential scientists in history, and his work on gravity is still widely revered today. In fact, his discoveries in this field have had a profound impact on the way we understand the world around us. For centuries, scientists had struggled to understand why objects fall to the ground. It was a fundamental question that had puzzled even the greatest minds. Aristotle, for example, believed that objects fell because they were trying to reach their natural place. But this explanation was far from satisfactory, and it wasn't until the 17th century that a breakthrough was made. The challenge of understanding gravity was daunting, and many scientists had given up hope of ever finding a solution. It was a problem that had been debated by philosophers and scholars for centuries, and yet no one seemed to be able to provide a convincing answer. The ancient Greeks, for instance, believed that everything was made up of four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. But this didn't explain why objects fell towards the ground. Despite the many theories that had been proposed, the mystery of gravity remained unsolved. It was a problem that seemed to defy explanation, and many scientists had begun to doubt whether it was even possible to find a solution. But one scientist was not deterred. Sir Isaac Newton was determined to get to the bottom of this mystery, and he spent many years studying the problem. He was fascinated by the way objects moved, and he spent countless hours observing the way things fell. It was during one of these observations that Newton had a famous epiphany. He was sitting under an apple tree when an apple fell onto his head, and it was this incident that inspired him to formulate his law of universal gravitation. Newton's observations led him to a profound realization. He realized that the force that pulled the apple towards the ground was the same force that kept the moon in orbit around the Earth. This was a groundbreaking discovery, and it challenged the conventional wisdom of the time. Newton's law of universal gravitation stated that every point mass attracts every other point mass by a force acting along the line intersecting both points. This law explained why objects fell towards the ground, and it provided a unified description of the celestial and terrestrial phenomena. In 1687, Newton published his findings in his most famous work, Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica. This book was a game changer, and it revolutionized the way scientists understood motion and forces. The publication of Principia marked a turning point in the history of science, and it established Newton as one of the leading figures of the scientific revolution. The impact of Newton's discovery was immediate, and it sparked a new wave of scientific inquiry. Scientists from all over Europe began to build upon Newton's work, and soon the field of physics was transformed beyond recognition. Today, Newton's laws of motion and gravity are still widely used. They form the basis of modern physics, and they have had a profound impact on our daily lives. From the way we travel to the way we communicate, Newton's discoveries have shaped the modern world. And yet, despite the many advances that have been made since Newton's time, his discovery remains one of the most significant in the history of science. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments about how Newton's discoveries have influenced your understanding of the world. And if you want to learn more about another amazing scientific breakthrough, be sure to check out my next video.